Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron?
You done messed up, Aaron!
Aaron is right here, everyone. Hope you're all having a fantastic Friday. Welcome back for a little bit more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Well, Ashton Kutcher done messed up again. Ashton Kutcher done messed up again. It makes me wonder who in God's name is advising Ashton. Who's running his team? A manager, agent, crisis management firm? It's unbelievable. Everything Ashton does or says to try to fix this issue overlooks the fact that he continues to refuse to directly address the women who he personally knows, who Danny Masterson has been convicted of harming. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. We could speculate endlessly that prevents Ashton from just saying to Jen, to Nisha, to Chrissy, I am deeply sorry for any pain my letter caused. It was a mistake. If he would just do that, I actually don't believe it would be necessary for Ashton Kutcher to resign from the nonprofit organization that he and Demi Moore created called Thorn, which was created to help address and solve the problems of trafficking of kids. And so what Ashton Kutcher has done is to resign. He's resigned from Thorn. Thorn put out this press release. This is their website. An update from Thorn just issued earlier today. Today, we are sharing that Ashton Kutcher, our co-founder, will be resigning from his role as board chair at Thorn effective immediately. This decision is rooted in the recognition of recent events and ensuring Thorn remains focused on its mission to build technology to defend children from sexual abuse. The text of Ashton's letter addressed to our board follows below. Thorn board. After my wife and I spent several days of listening, personal reflection, learning, and conversations with survivors and the employees and leadership at Thorn, I've determined that the responsible thing for me to do is resign as chairman of the board effectively immediately. Again, a typo. I cannot allow, his letter defending Danny Masterson that he submitted to the court was absolutely chock full of typos, missing words, poorly constructed sentences. Again, who's running the show over there? I cannot allow my error in judgment to distract from our efforts and the children we serve. As you know, I've worked for 15 years to fight for people who are sexually exploited. Victims of sexual abuse have been historically silenced, and the character statement I submitted is yet another painful instance of questioning victims who are brave enough to share their experiences. This is precisely what we have all worked to reverse over the last decade. I find Ashton's choice of words there to be very, very interesting. He is actually acknowledging that his letter essentially amounted to questioning the victims. Now, in his apology video, he denied that his letter did that in any way, shape, or form. I believe he denied that was the intent. I think he also denied that that was the reality, that was the impact, that that's not what this was about. And yet he does at least seem to acknowledge that that's at least how it was perceived. But what is the best thing Ashton could do to reverse course on any idea that he was questioning the victims, questioning the validity of their testimony, questioning the validity of the verdict? Just address them directly. All right, let's keep going. The mission must always be the priority, and I want to offer my heartfelt apology to all victims of sexual violence. Why? Why are you apologizing to all of them when you only hurt a few of them and you refuse to say the names of the women you actually hurt with your statement? Your statement did not hurt all victims of sexual violence. Okay. The mission must always be the priority, and I want to offer my heartfelt apology to all victims of sexual violence and everyone at Thorn who I hurt by what I did. My God! He's apologizing to the people who work for him at his nonprofit, and he still won't say Jen, Nisha, Chrissy. And to the broader advocacy community, I'm deeply sorry. He's apologizing to everyone in the advocacy community. I remain proud of what we have accomplished in the past decade and will continue to support Thorn's work. Thank you for your tireless advocacy and dedication to this cause. Sincerely, Ashton Kutcher. So let's see. The rest of the statement is from the board itself. I don't think I want to read the whole thing. The voices and experiences of victims and survivors are not just central to our work, they are its heartbeat. Okay. Thorn is staffed by a group of individuals that has passionately, oh my goodness. Stay there, folks. All right. Oh my God. Okay. Thorn is staffed by a group of individuals that has passionately dedicated their careers to defending children from sexual abuse. Okay. All right. Guys, I just don't get it. Does Ashton Kutcher believe the women or not? Even his apology letter doesn't actually indicate that he believes them. And this is not a believe all victims conversation. I don't think anyone should believe anything. Any accusations should be examined and the details reviewed and the veracity of something. The facts have spoken in this case. And for those of you who may not have already watched a bunch of my videos, Ashton Kutcher personally knows these women. It's not just, oh, Ashton's got this best friend that he's known forever, and these women Ashton's never met have accused him about things that occurred during a period when, I don't know, Danny was overseas in Europe and that where it had nothing to do with Ashton. The women Danny has been accused of drugging and raping are women personally known to Ashton. He knows Jen. He knows Nisha. He knows Chrissy. And for him to continue to refuse to just acknowledge that there's only specific women who were injured by his statement, hurt, deeply hurt by Ashton submitting that letter in defense of Danny to the judge. And the fact that his letter seemed to question whether they were telling the truth. Danny would never have anything to do with anyone who did drugs. Danny was responsible for keeping us all off of drugs. Meanwhile, every woman who's come forward and accused Danny of raping them has said that they were drugged. I just don't get it. Do you guys agree that if he had reversed course on this letter and just sincerely apologized, there should be no reason whatsoever for him to step down from his nonprofit? No reason whatsoever, unless he actually was confronted with a choice of like, are you going to come out and publicly say that you accept that Danny did these things? Because he says, we understand that the jury has reached a verdict. Yes, but do you agree with it? Do you accept it? Or are you just acknowledging that a process has been completed? Because I got to tell you, there is a part of me that feels like Ashton was confronted with a choice. Publicly comment that he believes Danny Masterson did these things and apologize specifically by name to Danny's victims that he's been convicted of the ones he's been convicted of at least. Because there was 3 charges. He was charged with, Danny Masterson was charged with crimes against 3 women. At least 10 women have come forward. At least 3 women have spoken out publicly. At least 2 other women actually testified as witnesses in the case. But there's at least 10 spanning different states, different countries, different decades. I feel like Ashton chose to resign from this organization instead of publicly apologizing by name to the women he personally knows and who Danny has been convicted of crimes against them, horrible crimes against them. I feel like he specifically chose to resign instead of publicly saying, I believe the jury came to the right verdict. I think he can't say it, if only because of all the blackmail the Masterson family has on him. So I think that's why he stepped down. I think he is actually incapable of publicly saying, I believe, agree, and accept that Danny Masterson did this and has been correctly convicted. And I apologize to you, Jen, Nisha, and Chrissy. I think he actually can't do it because of all the blackmail the Mastersons have on him, and Scientology has on him for that matter. And Ashton Kutcher is not even a Scientologist, never was a Scientologist. For some reason, his personal assistant was a Scientologist. The majority of his closest friends were dedicated Scientologists. He would every now and then visit the Celebrity Center for this event or that event, but was never actually a Scientologist. But they've got the blackmail on him. That is for sure. I think he took the coward's way out. He did not need to step down. He did not need to step down. There are plenty out there who are capable of sympathizing with a friend who was sort of pressured by his friend's family to write a letter. I know I'm armchair quarterback in this thing, and I know it's really hard to know what someone could or should say or do unless you're exactly in those shoes. But from where I sit, I'm just sharing my opinion. He could have very, very easily reversed course on this, apologized, said, look, I was helping a friend in need in a time of need, and I thought nobody was going to see it. And now I'm embarrassed, and it was the wrong thing to do. And I do believe the women. And I'm sorry, Jen. I'm sorry, Nisha. I'm sorry, Chrissy. I do believe you. Egg on my face. I apologize. He wouldn't have had to step down. He took the coward's way out. He took the coward's way out. And I'm afraid the fact that he took the coward's way out is going to cause this to continue to follow him. I'm sure he thought that stepping down was going to somehow put this to rest or, quiet things down a bit. I don't think so. I really, really don't think so. And I honestly can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's why I think that that it's because of the blackmail the Mastersons have on him and Scientology has on him. That's my opinion. All right, guys. Let me go through the super chats real quick. And this is just going to be a short video. So not much more to say, man. I mean, not much more to say. And by the way, some of the other headlines that I've seen have said that Mila Kunis has also stepped down, but I couldn't find any references to share with you guys of her actually having been a board member. Thorn is an organization that Ashton created with Demi Moore when they were still married. I don't know at what point Mila got involved. Again, I don't see any evidence that she's on the board or was on the board. So that's why I didn't mention her. But two other news articles that I read just before I went live on this said that she has also stepped down. So for whatever that's worth. Maria de Jesus Gutierrez says, not surprised. He does not understand that crime. That could be part of it. Dave Owens, the crisis PR is in full swing on Yahoo comments. The gist is that Danny Masterson was railroaded and wrongly convicted. Ashton and Mila are basically victims. Right. Exactly. So by the way, aside from the blackmail theory that I have, is it possible that Ashton just truly, honest to God, does not believe these women and thinks his friend is guilty of all these things and is a saint? There's a small part of me that wants to say yes, but I know the answer is no. I know the answer is no, because Ashton has been present and involved in many of the circumstances that are many of the instances that are very similar to what Masterson was actually convicted of. I mean, I was contacted by one former Scientologist woman just this week who's not spoken out publicly, who went to New York with Ashton and Danny and a whole bunch of friends, the whole friend group, for when Ashton hosted Saturday Night Live for the first time. Danny drugged and assaulted this girl in his room that night, with Ashton's room being right next door and Ashton coming into the room in the morning to wake Danny up while the girl was still there. Ashton knows what Danny's done. Bijou knows what Danny's done. So it's not that they don't believe that these things could have been done. It's why I go back to the blackmail theory. Anna Anderson, thank you very much. Celix the Fat. I like that one. Hi, AA Ron. The courage to escape childhood long oppression and turn around to fight it back is exceptionally admirable. Question: do you think that this new spotlight on Scientology will at least force a break of their disconnection policies? Thank you for the generous super chat. I appreciate that. I do not think it will result in a break of the disconnection policies. I think the only thing it might result in is a change in policy of how thoroughly Scientology people will or will not document in writing crimes of this nature when they come up in auditing sessions or ethics interviews. I do feel like somehow they're going to change some of the rules about like we don't put certain things in writing. We don't put certain things in writing. Certain reports we do not forward to management. Certain reports we do not forward to RTC or David Miscavige or the data files. But as far as will it result in a change in the policies of disconnection, I would say no. Thank you for the question. Celix the Fat. Roxanne wins. He's got secrets to hide and he doesn't want people to dig deeper. So this is a pacifying act. That feels right. Yeah. Melissa, thank you for covering these BS letters. Waiting for your live. Can you please say, Your Honor, in that great voice? Reminds me of the cartoon Rooster, Foghorn, Leghorn. Well, thank you, Melissa. There you go. I hope that did it for you. Jess, thank you very much. Destroying cults. I don't think Ashton will apologize because that will be attacking the Church of Scientology, and they must have things on him to blackmail him. That's the thing, though. He could apologize. I mean, technically speaking, Danny Masterson was the one on trial, not Scientology. Now, certain of Scientology's policies were very relevant to the trial because it has to do with why the victims didn't come forward to law enforcement earlier than they did. But strictly speaking, it was Danny Masterson that was on trial. I feel like Ashton could navigate an apology without dragging Scientology into it and just say, look, I believe the women. I believe them. Not just because they're women, but because the evidence in the trial was incredibly convincing. I believe them. I believe their testimony. I believe what they went through. I believe the jury made the right verdict. He doesn't have to bring up Scientology. But I appreciate your input on that, Destroying Cults. I do. Beans Brown, do you think all these letters were contrived as part of a longer game to be used in an upcoming retrial versus having any real effect on this latest sentencing? This aligns with Scientology's narrative and the lawyer's narrative. Beans Brown, I'm not sure I understand how the letters would factor into a retrial, which I think there's almost no chance of a retrial happening. I think there's almost no chance of this thing being overturned on appeal or ordered back to a new trial on appeal or anything like that. Others have expressed a different viewpoint, but that's mine. Do you think these letters were contrived as part of a longer game? I guess my answer is I don't see how that would fit into how the letters would fit into that strategy. But if other people have ideas about that, I'd be interested to hear them. Janda Panda Treasures. Ashton is trying to hide his direct involvement in Danny's crimes. Bingo. A New Earth Citizen. My very first super chat ever. I nominate AA Ron for president. Who's with me? No joke. You could do the job. AA Ron, we need you. Well, I did try to run for Clearwater City Council a couple years ago, and I came close, but that experience left me. I said, I will never do that again. So we'll have to put plans for the presidency on the back burner, at least for now. A New Earth Citizen. Thank you very much. Joshua Lavacek. What's up, Aaron? Thank you for the dedication to your page. My dad is a fan of yours now, too. Amazing. Amazing. You know, two of my daughters are in high school already, and it's funny how many of their friends and their friends' parents are fans of the channel, which is a lot of fun. Thank you for that, Joshua. Jess, even if he apologized to the survivors, he still had to step down. They don't want his name attached and was probably asked to step down. That is, of course, very possible. Tim Foote, thank you. What's this? Scott Nicholson. Dude, where's my career? Oh, I like that one. I like that one a lot. All right, everyone. That's all from me on this for now. That might be all this evening. It depends. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. I did have plans to do something else later this evening on the channel, but we'll see if that happens. Anyway, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Guys, if you're one of the 6,200 people watching live, do me a favor, hit that like button. It's fast, it's easy, it's free, and it actually helps. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with me this afternoon. And thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, oh, Dancing for my love, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe